Forest then who advance on penalties. Let's welcome in, shall we, Nedum and Frank Leboeuf's with us as well. Frank, you watched that? No way. Nedum, let's start with you pitch side. It turned into a good cup tie in the end.
Yeah, it certainly turned out to be that way. I think any time it goes to extra time, there's a sense of nervousness in the crowd. Some of the players as well are anxious. And then to see a penalty shootout, most fans don't really get the chance to see that very often. And to be able to win one at home in front of all your fans, you know, it's great. And the only person I feel sorry for is the last penalty taken for Ipswich.
Yeah.
He's coming up with all the pressure in the world on him. Every Nottingham Forest fan is screaming, they're shouting, making him feel every step on the way to take the penalty. And then it's saved. You know, he's heartbroken, but this is the FA Cup. And I think, as we said earlier in the show, sometimes we forget that there's so many magical moments for teams which we don't really talk about too much. And in that, you sort of seen yourself, Nuno is running onto the pitch because his team have won a penalty shootout to get him to the quarter-final. It seems kind of stale overall, but for these fans, it's everything, and it's been really good to see.
Yeah, Jack Taylor, the man, of course, missed the penalty. Frank, did the best team advance?
I would say so, even if it's already sad, because it's a cup game, so you just have to go through, and Ipswich were very close too. And even the last penalty is not that bad. It's more Sales who saved it because it's on the floor. He went to get it. You know, it wasn't the best game ever, for sure, but defensively, the two teams were very well organized. They wanted to go through. It's becoming serious now in the last 16. It's going to be even more serious for the quarterfinal. But I would say, yeah, Nottingham Forest deserved. We could feel that. I would say in the second half and extra time, if one team would have scored, I feel that it was more on Nottingham chances than Ipswich ones.
What's written on your notes?
My nose?
Yeah, your notes.
My notes. Oh no! It's so many games to watch during the weekend, and right. Even Paris Saint-Germain and everything. So I have to be ready for all your questions. So I worked. Well, I did my homework.
Well, that's good. Maybe others could learn. Interesting was the quality that we saw from that penalty shootout, which is incredible considering how difficult this ball is to keep down. That is certainly what Pep Guardiola has been saying, complaining about the FA Cup ball.
There is one action from field. The field make with the left foot, you know, to the far post, and the ball normally with the way they shoot make out inside, and that ball go away. So it's difficult to control it. So many years and many managers and players say about that, and when you lose, say that it's complaining, you know that but the ball is not proper. I'm sorry. For many years it happened for the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. I know it's a business. They arrive in agreement to do that, but the ball is not good.
Is it you say they can to control the shots or can? Do
you know how many shots go over the post?
They were quite well. So
all of them. But look, no, Herling. Look at other games.
Nedum, pitch side, you've been testing out these balls. What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, you know, it certainly is round, and it does make a difference. And to be honest, for me personally, I'm going to say throughout my career, I've had issues with some of these footballs as well. You know, I feel some of them, they probably just came off my foot a bit too heavily.
Yeah, sure, Nedum.
So as a consequence, my goal record is pathetic.
Doing that in the Premier League, the Champions League, wherever he's been playing this season. It's nothing to do with the ball.
Who's got his own ball?
Well, yeah, exactly. Frank, has Pep got a point?
Well, you know, I played with that brand when I was playing for Chelsea in the Premier League, and I never noticed any problem. Yeah, the ball are more flying, I would say, nowadays because of maybe the stitches that they don't have anymore. But, well, they train every day with that. They train like 3 or 4 days before the FA Cup game, so they get used to that. And we are different brands, and we try to adapt to that. We are football players. It's our game. It's our sport. It's our business, so we have to deal with that. I would never complain about that.
That's it. Frank brings up a good point, Shaq. You train with this ball in the build-up to this time.
And albeit only for a few days, because once the league game is over, then you switch balls to get ready for the FA Cup. And you kind of go back to your old habits in the heat of the game. But the amazing thing for me is, I don't think there's another club in English football that's had as good a record in the cup competitions as Manchester City have under Pep Guardiola. Won 2 FA Cups, 4 Carabao Cups. They lost in the FA Cup final last year. I've not heard that complaint up until now. And while they're still in the competition, and who knows how that goes, it just feels a little kind of forced. I'm not buying it.
Bournemouth in the next round, don't even bother turning up against them if you can't shoot, Nedum.
Oh, Dan Thomas, you are the worst, honestly. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an interesting game for them. Obviously, the ball might be an issue. Maybe it's an issue for Bournemouth as well, but I think it's going to be a good test for the contrasting styles of play. And the one thing I will say, Dan, about the balls.
Yes.
In fairness, I started off in the Premier League and I finished in the Championship. The Championship ball, by comparison, stinks, my friend.
Oh.
It stinks. So maybe there is something to it in some ways.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Nedum, for that wonderful insight, as always. To keep up to date with all the latest news, be sure to go over to YouTube, subscribe to ESPN FC. Much more about the FA Cup over the last few days on there. Here we go, then. Champions League's getting good now, isn't it? Look at this. 8 games for you over the next 48 hours. Some big ties on Wednesday, particularly PSG against Liverpool. We'll talk about that with Frank in a moment. But let's kick off, shall we, by looking ahead to Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. The duel of contrast, of course. Ancelotti taking on Simeone. Teams in very different form coming into this. We saw a great win, didn't we, for Atletico Madrid, 1-0 against Athletic Club. Meanwhile, Real Madrid losing against Real Betis. The bookies have Real Madrid, as you would expect, as favourites. But it is going to be an extraordinary couple of matches as we welcome in Alex Kirkland's with us, Frank Leboeuf still with us as well. Alex, before we look ahead to this game, I just want to reflect with you what happened on Saturday, because it was a really bad showing from Real Madrid. And despite everything we've heard over the last few weeks about referees and the Spanish league and everyone's against us, woe is us, this would be really concerning, surely, for Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, there were no complaints about the referee on Saturday, Dan, and that's because Real Madrid deservedly lost to Real Betis. They were clearly the inferior team, and especially given what happened, they started quite well, won't we?
You look at the stars of Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. I know there's no Bellingham, but still, there has to be a better quality of performance from Real Madrid. And as you mentioned, Alex, just 1 in 5. Where's it gone wrong in your opinion?
I mean, well, Ancelotti talked about the things that he tends to talk about when there's a defeat, which is about a lack of the wrong attitude, a lack of intensity. When the team have got it right this season, they've found a way to have all that attacking talent in the team and put that kind of to the service of the team and work hard off the ball. Ancelotti's found this kind of 4-4-2, which has Bellingham, when he's available, dropping in on one side, Rodrigo dropping in on the other to make up a midfield 4, and these attacking players working really hard off the ball. But then they don't do that. When that doesn't happen, they struggle. And that's what happened against Betis. Another big issue, I think, was the absence of Fede Valverde, who is so important, not just in midfield, but when he's been sort of reinvented as a right back as well. When he's not there, and he wasn't there against Betis, he wasn't there in the Copa del Rey game last week either. We think he's going to be available for Atleti, but his fitness is not 100%. That's a big issue too.
We heard Vinicius Jr., didn't we, speaking ahead of this game. This is what the Brazilian had to say. He was asked about his new contract. A lot of speculation, isn't there, about his future, heavily linked to a move to Saudi Arabia, of course, he was in the summer. He addressed that when he was asked about the future there. The quote is coming, Shaka.
Oh, okay, all right.
There you
all right.
go.
Oh.
I'm very calm because I have a contract until 2027, and let's hope we can renew my contract as soon as possible. I'm happy here playing with the best players in the world, the best coach, Ancelotti, the best president, Perez, where everyone loves me. I couldn't be anywhere better than here. Vinicius Jr. saying everything right, Alex, but what I would want from him as one of my star men is for him to step up on games like at the weekend to make the difference, where you just don't feel he has done enough this season.
He's been a little bit up and down. I mean, he's been really, really good in some games in particular, in the Champions League in particular, but not consistently, I'd agree. In terms of his future, he always says this kind of thing when this is put to him. But we also know for a fact, because we've been told by people close to him, that last summer when this Saudi interest arrived, he was willing to at least entertain it. And in fact, they put off any decision on his future until this year. Now, in the end, will he end up staying? Yes, we think that probably he will. He's leaning towards staying, and this Saudi interest can be very, very useful for him in contract renewal talks with Real Madrid, of course. But yeah, I agree. I mean, look, this is one of the best players in the world. The player that just won FIFA's the best, was second in the Ballon d'Or, hasn't quite hit the heights with such consistency this season, maybe, as he did last year. But again, talking about that today, I think he said He knows that, and he still, and like I say, in the really big games, in the Champions League games, we saw it in the first leg against City, for example. He tends to step up and deliver.
Seeing, Frank, when you take a look at Atletico Madrid's mentality going into this, because I'm sure if you offered Simeone a draw now, going into that second leg with the home advantage, Atleti, you could argue, would be favourites. It's going to be interesting to see the mentality of this side and the way in which Simeone sets things up going into this tie.
Exactly. And it's a different competition. We are talking about La Liga last weekend. We are talking about the Champions League. You will have to be even more stronger because you know that Real Madrid is going into another phase when they play the Champions League. Another structure, another mentality. That's Real Madrid. And we have seen that throughout all the years where Real Madrid won, where we thought it would be impossible. But they did it. We saw against Manchester City, they came back to their best on the two legs. So Atletico Madrid, and I think their coach will be ready for that. They know that they will have to be even better, even stronger, being more even warriors that they are in order to have a chance to win. And it goes through the first leg, and you're right, if they get a draw, they're going to be the favorite for the second leg, and they might have the chance to go through. But it's only because they're going to be like crazy warriors.
Let's take a look, shall we, at everybody's predictions. Does anyone dare go against Real Madrid in their competition? Let's take a look, of course. Myself and Shaka. Shaka, you've gone for the same thing. Does that concern you?
A little bit, yes. Give me your record, Dan.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying.
So 1-1 at the Bernabeu and then they get it done at the Metropolitano?
Yes, and while, to your point, it's always difficult to pick against Real Madrid in this competition, I just feel that this could be Atleti's season, certainly as far as getting the better of Real Madrid. Right now, they're playing arguably the best football we've seen from them under Diego Simeone. Right now, Real are probably as vulnerable as we've ever seen them under Carlo Ancelotti. I think Atletico going to the Bernabeu, get a result. I just don't see them winning at the Bernabeu, but then over the two legs, over the 180 minutes, going back home, I feel Atleti get the job done. But again, it's just.
Alex, you've gone for the draw, but you've gone to the opposite, me and Shaq. You think Real Madrid will get something from the Metropolitano?
Yeah, I mean, the 1-1 draw prediction, sorry, it's not very imaginative. It's just the fact that that's been the scoreline when the two teams have met both times in La Liga this season. In terms of Madrid prevailing in the second leg, I agree it will be tough. Of course, having that second leg at the Metropolitano is a huge advantage for Atletico Madrid. They deserve that advantage. It's based on how well they've done in this competition overall. Of course, Real Madrid only making it this far by going through the playoffs. That's why they've got the second leg away from home. So yeah, I'm not sure if I can entirely justify my faith in Real Madrid getting it done at the Metropolitano other than this is Real Madrid in the Champions League, and we start talking about all this kind of intangible thing about the mystique of the club and the competition and the 15 European Cups and all that kind of thing.
That's it. It's the intangibles, isn't it, Frank? I imagine that's why you've gone Madrid.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Alex said it all, and I've been against Real Madrid so many times, and they went through that I have to deny myself and accept the fact that Real Madrid is another team, and with all the performances during the Champions League games, and that's what it is, and. You know, I've seen some bad stuff defensively, but I'm pretty sure that Rudiger and Alaba is going to manage something else tomorrow, and we'll see a better Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. It's going to be tight, of course, for sure. They are two absolutely different teams and fantastic teams, but Real Madrid, again, as Alex said, it's a different team in the Champions League.
Most definitely are. And Real Madrid also, of course, different team in La Liga. A big weekend regarding results in the title race. Barcelona, top of the table, 1 point clear of Atleti, as we mentioned before. Real Madrid losing against Real Betis, which has given Barcelona very much the initiative. With 12 games to play, it is Barcelona who are odds-on favourite over Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Alex, this is great for us as followers of La Liga. Exactly what you want. 3 real horses in this race, and there are arguments for and against all of these teams as to why they could go all the way.
Yeah, let's see if it stays that way, because so far this season, there have been moments when each team has looked like the top dog, and each team has had their wobble as well. Barca had that huge wobble going back to December. It was a sort of a historic wobble in terms of how many points they dropped. They've left that behind. They're back to their best. They're looking once again like the best team in the league. Atletico Madrid, maybe the best strength in depth. We know about their defensive record, winning against fourth place Athletic 1-0 on Saturday. Real Madrid, as I mentioned, in dreadful form with just 1 win in 5 in the league. Athletic been dropping points as well. It's very difficult to predict because, like I say, every time you think you've got a sense of which of those three is the favourite, it tends to change. And this is the stage in the season when it's more demanding than ever, because we're talking about the Champions League, La Liga, Copa del Rey. Okay, that's quieting down now because the second leg in the Copa del Rey semi-finals, which all these three teams were involved in, remember, isn't for another month. They've got a bit of a break from that. But in terms of the league and the Champions League, fighting on both fronts. You've got all these three teams fighting for the league title, fighting to stay in the Champions League and for the Copa del Rey as well. So yeah, it would be great if it would stay this way, because it's great to have three teams battling away at the top.
And of course, we've still got a Clásico to come, Atletico Madrid against Barcelona as well. Alex, which games are you going? Are you going to any Champions League games over the next couple of days?
Yeah, I'll be at the Bernabeu tomorrow night.
Oh, beautiful. Good stuff. Enjoy it. Thank you very much to Alex. Much appreciated. Just a reminder, you can see every single La Liga game live on ESPN+. This Saturday, it's Barca against Osasuna. Barcelona with a chance to extend their lead at the top of the table before Sunday. Getafe taking on Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid taking on Rayo Vallecano. Our clocks, of course, will spring forward. However, it won't in Europe, so everything is going to be an hour later from what we're used to with regards to La Liga times. Then on Wednesday, this is turning into one of the ties, isn't it, in the Champions League? Given the form of PSG going into it, Liverpool odds-on favourite, as you would expect, given what we've seen from them in the Premier League and the Champions League this season. But this is a PSG side, let's not forget, who scraped through into the playoffs, but in this calendar year have been sensational.
I don't think that the coach is going to play at three at front. I think he's going to play Barcola on the left side, Dembele on the right side, and do it like a number 10 to trick a little bit Van Dijk and Konate for them to have nobody to mark. And in the middle of the park, I think you will have Neves. Vitinha is going to come back. He was just rested, and Zaire Emery, the little diamond who just came back from injury. Those three players, they are like dogs. When they bite you, they never let you go. And on top of it, they are technically very, very good. The middle of the park is going to be a real battle, and the team who wins that battle is going to go through. Even if I put Liverpool favourites, it's not going to be easy for me.
Yeah, it should be good, shouldn't it? Let's take a look at everyone's predictions then as to who will advance. Everyone's got Liverpool going through, but Liverpool coming from behind at Anfield, according to Shaka and Frank, with PSG getting the win in France, Shaka.
Yeah, and listen, I totally agree with everything Frank has said. I think there's no one player that kind of represents PSG on the turn of form like Ousmane Dembele. Everything you could say about PSG as a team, he epitomizes. What you've seen of late in terms of his form, in terms of how good he's been, PSG as a team have emulated that. With this game played back in November, December, you see Liverpool winning quite comfortably over two legs, but all of a sudden you have PSG playing this incredible football. I just feel in the first leg, they'll get the job done at home. But going to Anfield on a European night, this is a different Liverpool. Somehow they turn that result around. So over the two legs, I think Liverpool get it done, but only just, and it's going to take one of their better performances of the season.
Frank, when I was shouting at you in the group stages of this tournament, and I was saying, look, PSG, they're terrible, you know, they need to get something going, you're like, yeah, but there's no pressure on them. No one was expecting them to do anything this season. So given they've exceeded that expectation with their form of late, does it give them a bit of a free pass against Liverpool?
It could, and it should, because when you have nothing to lose, you go for it. And when you defy the best team in Europe right now, you have, you know, in your thoughts the fact that you want to create a miracle, and it's possible. Of course, it's possible. It's a football game. It's 11 players against 11 other players, and football has created so many surprises throughout its own history that it's possible that PSG could go through. First leg, first game, try to win at the Parc des Princes and see how it works. It's going to be a different pressure in Liverpool, especially if Paris Saint-Germain goes leading over there, that Liverpool's going to react. I don't know if they can handle the pressure of Anfield, but on Wednesday, everything is possible for Paris Saint-Germain. Don't forget, they are on fire, really on fire right now.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Frank is on fire as well with Dancing with the Stars in France. We'll be discussing that on Extra Time. Be sure to join us.
Again.
Frank, you told me to bring it up.
No, liar.
With the second round of action of the new MLS season, Houston taking on Inter Miami. No Lionel Messi, no problem for Inter Miami. It just takes 6 minutes for Segovia to make it 1-0 here.
Well, if you do this as Houston Diamond and give the ball away as cheaply as they do here, Luis Suarez into Segovia, easy finish, but you've got to make them work more than that, Houston, surely.
Suarez involved once again as he would find Allende, who'd make it 2-0. Nice goal.
Really good finish by Allende. Good ball by Luis Suarez just to release him here. A lot of work for Allende to do once he does pick this ball up. Tight angle. Look at this for a finish. Picks out that far top corner.
It'd be a hat-trick of assists for Luis Suarez as he would play it through to Segovia, who would get his second, Miami's third.
Oh,
What an assist.
Again, Houston play their own part in their downfall. Well done, Luis Suarez. We'll give you that one as well.
Busquets plays it off to Suarez, who would here make it 4. Houston really bad.
Luis Suarez picks his ball up, turns and just runs by 3 defenders. That should not be happening.
No.
Never lose your finish. Oh, well done, Luis.
Inter Milan then with the victory. Meanwhile, Vancouver taking on LA Galaxy. Just 2 minutes on the clock here. And it'd be Vancouver who would take the lead.
Nice finish by following in, easy tapping.
Galaxy, of course, defending champions. Not a good start for them. They lost their home opener and would lose here as well, despite the fact Peck would make it 1-1.
Peck following in, all at sea defensively. Thought there was a little push here, surprised that wasn't caught back, then the keeper doesn't cover himself in glory. Peck just right place, right time, good finish.
It'd be Brian White, though, who would be the hero for Vancouver here. His header.
Where's the defending? White just drifts off the back of his defender, who doesn't even jump, and then heads in from, 3-4 yards?
A lot more what happened in MLS. Be sure to join Herc and Christina. Herc, of course, in England at the moment. He'll be interviewing Anthony Robinson later in the week, and of course you can see that live and exclusive here on ESPN. Taking a look at what happened in Italy today, a much-needed victory for Juventus. A 2-0 win over Verona takes them, for the moment, up into a Champions League spot. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. I'm Dan Thomas, Shaka Hislop with us, as is Frank Leboeuf. Did you see how Frank was dressed this weekend for Dancing with the Stars?
No, I did not.
I wonder who chose the outfit.
I have no idea, Dan.
Mr. Incredible. What was that about? Was that your idea, Frank?
I think they wanted to punish me. It was a Disney, so the Disney week. So
yes.
Our bosses, and they picked the Incredibles for me. So on my own, I looked stupid. With my partner, it was quite nice. So I enjoyed, and we finished. Mid-table, so okay. I was happy.
Right.
I only had 4 7s, 7 out of 10. So I'm happy week. Good for me.
7. There you are.
That's
what they say in England.
Is that what they say?
Len, what's his face says it. There we go. I think he's still. I don't. There we go. Shaka, how much pressure is Eddie Howe under to secure European football this season?
I don't think he's under that.
Poor showing against Brian. Was it against Brian? I'm trying to remember. It was.
When this weekend?
Yeah, the FA Cup. Yeah, they're out the FA Cup. Danny Welbeck scored, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It was a poor showing, but to the question, I'm not sure he's under that much pressure to get into Europe. I mean, it's a tight top of the table. They hadn't spent an awful lot of money in the summer. Probably the biggest boast is that they managed to keep hold of Alexander Isak, but other than that, it's not like they've spent an awful lot of money. So again, consolidating their place, threatening to get into the Champions League and another cup final. I don't think he's under pressure at all.
Shaq, if Manchester City is able to comfortably lock in a top 4 spot for Champions League, does it make any sense to bring back Rodri this season? Would making the FA Cup final be enough reason for Rodri to come back?
Yeah, unless they make the FA Cup final, I don't see why you rush him. And as I mentioned, it's still very open at the top of the Premier League table. And while players come back from ACLs every season now, it's still a major injury, it's still a major concern. If you're able to get there, better to get him fit, get him rested over the summer to come back and be fully fit and involved next season.
For Mr. Leboeuf, very formal. If you were an Atletico Madrid player and you had to mark Mbappe, what would be your plan to stop him? What was that, Shaq? You punching him?
Yeah, I was punching the ribs.
Little rub.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to say it's going to be too nasty, but during our days, you know, a young player like that who wants to be fit, wants to score many goals, yeah, you will have to distract him in a bad way, maybe threat him a little bit to make sure that he doesn't go into your area too many times for too long. But it's hard to cope with that. You have to try to anticipate. But if you anticipate, he can run back, he can run behind you. It's a tricky situation. You will have to work with all your teammates, people in front of you in the middle of the park, the goalkeeper as well to cover, and maybe, of course, the other centre-backs. Those players like Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, and so many other, Dembele right now, are very hard to cope by yourself. You have to be helped by the others, for sure.
Just how unrealistic does Amorim sound making headlines saying the goal is to win the Premier League when they cannot even compete week in, week out? That's what he said after the defeat against Fulham. He said his aim was to win the Premier League.
Manchester United has become a little bit of a kind of clown show.
A circus, I believe, Shaka.
That too.
Is what most people call a clown show.
Yeah, well, that's where clowns do their showing. And it's hard to take anything one way or the other with them, regardless, whether they're going to win the Premier League next season or they're the worst team in the Premier League right now. I mean, it's just, you don't see any end to again, this clown show. Unfortunately...
Circus?
Unfortunately, because I think the ringmaster is sitting at the top of the club and they're not going anywhere.
No.
Ringmaster of the clown show.
Nice.
Yeah, but Shaka, he didn't say when. He said the goal is to win the Premier League. He didn't say when. It might be in 5 years.
He didn't say it was under him. He didn't say it was under him either.
But if things keep going the way they are, and there's no suggestion there's going to be a big change right at the top, Frank, it's not going to happen, is it?
No, of course not. Of course not. It's impossible. You know, that doesn't make any sense. And again, the only excuse is because he didn't say which year he's planning on winning the Premier League. But right now, he has too many things to sort out, so it's going to be very tricky. And that's not the next goal. The next goal is just to survive right now.
Final question, Frank. Pep won't be fired like the average coach, but is it possible that at the end of the season, City's owners tell him, well, maybe you should resign and move on?
But if it's possible at the end of the season, City owners tell him, no, I think it will only depend on Pep, I think. Pep changed Manchester City for so many years, won everything that the club could have hoped, and so therefore they cannot fire him. But it's up to Pep to realize that maybe I cannot help the club anymore, maybe I have to rest a little bit or find another challenge. But I don't see the owners saying anything. Maybe you should resign. No, they signed him. They want him to carry on. They will give him the money if they can, if every problem that they have out of football can be sorted out. I think it's really up to him to stay or not. I don't see the owner saying anything to him.
Not going anywhere.
No.
I don't think he's still...
Not joining the clown show?
He's not going to be joining the clown show.
No.
Still regarded as one of the best managers in world football. They asked Pep Guardiola to move on to bring who in? I'm not sure there's an immediate candidate that springs to mind.
And what's the dancing theme this week, Frank?
Clowns.
I'm not dancing on Friday. We have a break on Friday, and I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance next week, and it's gonna be Casa de Papel. I have a, how do you call that? A flamenco dance.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, chest out, you know, chest out.
Okay, wow. He's got
goodness.
enjoy your bye week. Thank you very much, Frank. We will be back tomorrow then. Proper games, really good Champions League ties. Of course, Atletico Madrid in action against Real Madrid. Arsenal as well playing. Arsenal haven't played for a long time.
Oh,